These lemon butter chicken zoodles are absolutely delicious and easy to make. Let's get into it. You're going to start by cubing some chicken breast. I am using approximately 1.5 pounds of chicken breast for this recipe, and I am going to trim the fat as I'm slicing them, and I'm going to slice these in really nice size cubes. Now, I do always use chicken thighs in my recipes because they do have a little more fat and flavor. I'm using chicken breast in this recipe because the breasts go really, really well with the zucchini, and I want to make sure that this recipe is low in fat. But you can use chicken thighs if you like, but I feel like chicken breast is the best option for this recipe. After you have gone through and you have cut all of your chicken breast in nice size pieces, it's time to season. I am going to season these generously with some sea salt. We want to make sure that all the chicken is covered. I always have one of my hands mixing the meat and one hand is free for seasoning. So I'm mixing in the salt. You have to follow up with some black pepper. Salt and pepper go together. And next, we're going to use some garlic powder. Garlic powder is one of my favorite seasonings. So, we had to load these up with some garlic powder. And then we're also going to use some thyme. Thyme is a really good seasoning and it goes really, really well with chicken and lemon. I just put y'all on to game. After you have mixed everything in, you want to make sure that all the chicken is covered. I am going to add a little bit of hot pepper flakes. These are red pepper flakes. It's just going to give it a little punch. You can leave this out if you want to, but I really do like the kick that this provides. You're going to mix everything in, and then I'm just going to let these sit and get room temperature before I cook them. Now let's get started on our zoodles. Now in this bowl of zoodles, I have seasoned this with just salt. You want to season it with salt and let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, and that's going to pull all of the water out of the zoodles. You're going to thank me later. I have oiled my wok with some avocado oil. You want this to be nice and hot. I'm using a wok because it has a lot of surface area. You can use a large pan if you want to. You can also use a pot, but for me, the wok works. And it's time to cook our chicken. I have this on a medium heat and we're going to cook this chicken until it's no longer pink in the center and it's all done. Now I am using a little bit of oil. Like I said, I wanted to keep the fat content down. So my chicken is sticking a little bit to the wok, but I'm not concerned about that because I'm going to get all those bits and pieces out a little bit later. Hopefully yours isn't sticking like mine, but it's not a big deal. You want to cook this chicken until it's no longer pink and it has a really nice, beautiful brown color, sort of like this. Look at that. These are done. I am going to remove these from the pan and just put them in my bowl. I'm going to keep my bowl right here because we will incorporate the chicken a little bit later. Now, I am adding 1 tablespoon of butter to my wok, and I am also adding 1/2 of an onion. You can omit this if you want to, but I feel like the onion adds a nice depth of flavor. If you want to, you can substitute shallot for the onion as well. Or like I said, you can leave this out, but I like the flavor that the onion gives the dish. It gives it a really nice depth of flavor. You're going to saute this onion for about 3 to 4 minutes until it gets nice and soft and translucent. Now I am adding 2 cups of chicken stock. As you see, I'm adding the chicken stock from a pan because my chicken stock is hot. Do not add cold chicken stock to your dish. And I'm using my spoon and I'm getting all those bits and pieces, the little stuck brown pieces that were on my wok. I'm getting those up with the hot stock. That is called flavor. Okay, that is called flavor. You don't want to wash that out. You want to get all the bits and pieces from the bottom of the pan, and that's going to add a nice depth of flavor to this dish. Now, you do want this to boil because essentially we're going to thicken our sauce up by allowing it to boil. We're not adding any thickeners. I am adding one large lemon, the juice of one large lemon to this chicken stock. This is going to give it that nice, bright, lemony flavor, and it's going to be delicious. Now, this is on a high heat because we want this to boil and we want this sauce to reduce. This is a natural way to make your sauce thick without adding any cornstarch or flour. And this is going to keep this dish low carb, exactly how we like it. Because this is a low carb for about 2 to 3 minutes, calories, and then it's time to add our pretty much. Now, remember, I told you that you wanted to salt the zoodles and let them sit. I wouldn't be mad for about 10 to 15 minutes. Load it up with a lot of all the moisture to now make I'm going to switch my utensil and go in and get some of that chicken. Squeezing some of the water out. I have a nice amount. Trust me, this is a very important step. Flavorful. It's going to be juicy. Get one more piece and squeeze the zoodles and look at all that I'm going to go in. We don't want that in another utensil because I am going to toss the zoodles delicious sauce in this lovely sauce. Ladle that sauce do not take long to make sure that everything is covered. These are going to take approximately. This sauce is going to be 7 minutes. Very most. I like my zoodles to have a little bite to butter. I don't like them real salty, and also it's not a good texture. Delicious. So you're going to saute these. You know, I have to garnish this up, and I'm garnishing this with and then we're going to add the chicken. That's just going to make it. We're going to saute nice and pretty. So as these are sauteed, you know, make sure you're moving them around. I'm going to add off my one more tablespoon. There's no butter, splatter of the sauce anywhere. And the only thing left to do is eat this. If bon appetit, you don't want to add the butter, you don't have to. But listen, add this. You would not be disappointed. Let me know what you think about this recipe. Back to this dish, and I'm going to let this cook for approximately 2 more minutes. Like I said, we don't want to overcook our zoodles, but we are going to cook this long enough so everything is incorporated, all the flavors get melded together. You know, it's a party in this pot. We want everything to mesh together and all the flavors to combine. But this is smelling delicious. This is looking amazing. And guess what? This is done. This is a very simple, easy dish to make throughout the week. You are going to love it. The only thing left is to plate it up. I'm so excited. I know, I'm just way too excited. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, shame on you. Like and subscribe to my channel. You can also find me on IG and TikTok, Making Meals with Mika.